The monitor in front of us is brand new in box, or NOS, new old stock. Has been opened. I had to test it after I received it in the mail in case it had got damaged and I had to make a claim. Fortunately, it works fine. So it is essentially new. It's in its original box, PVM-6041QM, 6-inch monitor. This is an Australian landed model, bought back in the day by Sony. So we'll go through and have a look what's involved, what's included inside the box. So there's this bag here. It's got the manual. You can see that this model is named differently for other areas of the world. 5041Q, 6041Q. I'll open it up. Just put the camera down for a moment, sorry. Come back here, yeah. Alright, so there's the manual. It's got all those different languages. You've got a little slip there. Looks like it's in Dutch. Or no, maybe not. Deutschland, I don't know. Could be German, sorry for those Europeans out there that I've got it wrong for. Now, it comes with some accessories. There's a remote cable. So that plugs into the back of the monitor, and they've already got the wires stripped and exposed there. So you can control the functions of the monitor remotely. Rather than using the buttons on the front of the monitor, you can use a computer or whatever remotely and control from a distance. These here are for the AC power cord that goes in the back of the monitor. You can actually attach this, screw this onto the back of the monitor, and then plug the power cable into that, into the power socket. Then you put this on the power cable, and that clips into that. It just locks in the cable, so it's harder for it to just slip out by accident. I've got a warranty card. That's Sony Australia, so that's something that Sony Australia has added. It may have been added over here in this country, or it may have been put in there in Japan, but it's for Australia. Standard warranty. I think it's like 90 days for labour, yeah, and parts for 1 year, so it's not really that long. We've got some foam, upper and another upper, 2 pieces of foam on the top, and then there's a soft bag wrapped around it. Take the monitor out, and there's the 2 bottom pieces of foam, and then there's the power cable, IEC power cable. It's interesting to see what is the original power cable. It's a grey one, I would assume so. It's been tested at some point in its life. Aussie power plug. Get rid of that. Here's the monitor itself. Quite nice to have a brand new one and to test out and see how it compares to a used monitor, see how it's held up over the years. There's your back. It's like clean as a whistle. Made in Japan. Got another Testel thing there. Tested in 2009, so they just kept it brand new in box but actually never used it. There's the front. All shiny and clean. The underside. Righto, we'll fire it up in a moment and see how it goes. Might compare it to a used one that I have here. Obviously the monitor is going to be very clean inside, being new and in its box all this time. So what Sony did at about this time with their little 6-inch and 9-inch monitors is go with a design where the PCBs, there's 4 here. There's 1 on each side where I'm touching, and then there's 1 down on the bottom there, and then there's 1 on the back. But what they did here is they made the monitor so that you could lower the sides down. They pivot down here at the bottom, they're hinged, and I have a model, another one here that's already opened, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see that goes up and down, and that's held in by a screw there and a screw there, so it gives you better access to make adjustments or make some repairs. It's a good in theory, not so good in execution, because the plastic becomes very brittle over time, particularly so if it's used in a hot environment. I think it's more the heat that does the damage. So you can see here that there's a piece that's broken off just there. That's actually to, turn it around. So that would normally sit in there and get screwed in and hold everything in place. This is actually a good example. I mean, there's that one break there, and then there's another break there. You can see it's come apart there, and they're shocking the hinges as well. They break. If that comes out, good luck getting it back in without breaking it. Also, if you want to remove the PCBs out of the plastic frame, obviously you disconnect all the cables, but if you want to take that PCB out of the frame, there's 3 clips here on the side, another one in the middle and another one on the end. You have to squeeze those with some pliers or something till you get room to push the board up and out of the frame, but you put pressure on those with some pliers and they snap usually too. So good in theory but not so good in execution. I chose to show an already buggered's a bit harsh, it's a bit strong to say, but I didn't want to. I reckon these new ones would be right because they're new, but I didn't want to take the chance and undo them. There's no need to. So that's the inside, as you can see. Do we have a date? Oh yeah, we've got a, there we go, 2001. Let's have a closer look on the back. Not a bad arrangement of connections for such a small monitor. You'd never find a 6-inch television with such connections. So over here we've got composite video in and out, audio in and out, only mono, does have a speaker inside, and then you have the all important RGB and component line there, another audio in for that, and you have a selection there for the sync if it's internal. So for composite video, the sync is in the composite video signal, so you set it to internal, and then when you want to go RGBS, you go and set that to external, because the sync's external, it has its own line. And there's a switch there for RGB and component. You do select which one you want by that switch, and then there's a 16:9 widescreen mode and a 4:3 remote to control the monitor. You can use a computer or some external device to control the monitor as you would with the buttons at the front of the monitor, but rather with a computer or device. There is a V-hold adjustment knob there. If you do get one of these monitors and the picture is rolling and you think what's going on, just have a look around the back, that'll be more than likely the cause. Here's your power in, IEC socket, and there is another power supply. You can supply 12 volts in there and power the monitor, and then there's also a battery slot there to put battery in. These slots can break without too much trouble, just be careful of them. Just the cover, that is. And then there's the label, made in Japan. Right, no S-video. That's probably the one thing that's the next desirable thing. The 9-inch models in general have, or the 9-inch models of the time of this monitor have the S-video in the form of an S-video socket as well. While we're here too, you can actually stand the monitor up with that little stand. You can elevate the front, have it upright a little bit like that. It's another feature of the 6-inch monitors. The 9-inch ones don't have that. If I haven't already made mention, there is a clear piece of plastic there over the top that's held in by 4 Allen key bolts that can be removed, and that gives you immediate access to the tube. I'm not sure why it's there. It's probably just sort of a form of protection. It's 9 inches, don't use that. These always get scratched up though. I've never seen a second-hand one of these without some form of scratching on the plastic. And then there's your controls there with your power and your volume, contrast, phase, chroma, brightness, HV delay, line RGB, blue only, underscan. Right. Okay, so what we have in front of us now are two 6-inch monitors, exactly the same model. The one on the right is the one we've been looking at. It's the brand new PVM. And the one on the left is used. As to its history, it's unknown. I don't know how many hours it's done, but it's fairly typical. So I've got a signal going into the composite video of the older monitor on the left, and then that's piggybacked into the monitor on the right, so they're getting fed exactly the same signal as one another. So conditions are pretty much the same for each of them. It does appear on the camera screen that the right side is a bit brighter, and it is, but not as much as what it looks like on the screen right now. On the camera screen, that is. A little bit more vibrant. Now, if I change that pattern, you can see quite distinctly that the blue shows up a lot better over here than it does on the used monitor. It's probably actually more exaggerated on the camera now than it is with the naked eye, but that is the most clear distinctions of the differences between the new and the old. It's likely that the emission on the guns in the old monitor are starting to run out a bit, starting to wear. Typically causes the monitor to get a bit dimmer. Whites aren't as white. You can turn up brightness and contrast, but then things start to wash out and get a bit grey, and it's no compensation for a brand new tube and monitor. What else have we got? This one on the left does actually have very slight burn-in. It's been used in widescreen, and you can see along the bottom horizontal and along the top the same, that they're a little bit brighter. It's just in that 4:3 aspect ratio. It's just a smidgen darker. Again though, I don't think that'll be picked up on the camera. As far as the crosshatch is concerned, I would actually say that the new one is a little bit more misconverged on the right hand side than the left. Like, I'd say the convergence might be actually better on the older monitor. You do have to realise though, these come out of factory imperfect. They're not BVM level, and that's to say not even BVMs probably come out of the factory perfect. But you do have to give some intolerance. The specs do have a tolerance, a range of where they can be out, but only to a point. But I wouldn't actually complain with either one in that regard. So you can see that the newer monitor is superior to the older naturally, but I just generally look for whiter whites. That's what I look for in a monitor. I can kind of tell by looking at so many of them where the monitor's at in its age by the whiteness. So I think finally we'll actually put a game on and just see how it feels, see what it looks like on the new monitor. There is a PlayStation 2 connected to the monitor, and it is running via component. This game is Guilty Gear XX Reloaded, and like most of the games in that series, it has the ability to be switched into progressive mode. It won't work, but I will show you. So there you go, it's split in half the image, so it does not work. The monitor does not support 480p or 576p or any higher than those. So we'll just continue it as normal.
Please select your character. Heaven or hell, duel 1, let's rock!
Monitor looks quite good. Small image, but nice picture. I'm going to change games. Okay, so the last game I've got is Castle of Shikigami 2, also for the PlayStation 2. What I like is that we can rotate the screen, as you can do with a lot of shoot 'em ups. And when we start, the game is sideward. Obviously the benefit of this monitor only weighing like 6 or 7 kilos, if that, is that we can easily rotate it. It's got flat sides, so we can go vertical so easily. Oh, so easily. Like such. Oh, sorry, I keep pushing the wrong buttons. Oh no, they're alright.
Dear Uncle Mibutani,
Oh. I'll turn that down a bit. So at the end of the day, we've got a monitor that has got a very good picture. It's a 250 line tube. It's only 6 inches in size, so that's really the drawback. It's going to make playing RPGs in particular very difficult because the text on this thing is just so small. That's the real struggle, is to read text that's tiny. So that's the main drawback. Doesn't have S-video, but no big deal. Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed the video and stick around for more to come. Bye.